नवरात्र में देवी की उपासना, शक्ति की आराधना, सृष्टि और सौंदर्य की अनुभूति, साहस का आभास, रचना की निरंतरता आपने अनुभव किए ही होंगे। ये सारे एस्पेक्ट्स नहीं भी तो इनमें से 2 या 3 तो हमारे जीवन में चैत्र और शरदीय नवरात्र के निरंतर चक्र के बीच जुड़ते और पनपते ही रहते हैं। It's just about making a beginning or continuing to explore more and more in the self, in our devotion for the Devi, her swarupas and attributes. Performing arts के माध्यम से शक्ति का स्वरूप, शक्ति पर थॉट, डिवोशन, क्रिएशन, कल्पना जो एक साथ पिरोते हैं, एक कृति को ऑडियंस के समक्ष रखने के लिए वो शक्ति, देवी, फेमिनिन, पावर, एस्थेटिक को कैसे एक साथ कन्वर्ज करते हैं। संस्कृति विद सुमति के इस एपिसोड में मैं बात कर रही हूँ ऐसी महिला से जो शक्ति का एक्सप्लोरेशन निरंतर रखती हैं, उन युवा कलाकारों के रेpertoire के थ्रू जिन्हें वे डेटी एंड डिवोशन थीम से एक्सप्रेशन में साथ लाती हैं। आई स्पोक टू डॉक्टर उषा RK जी, फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर, जवाहरलाल नेहरू कल्चरल सेंटर, एम्बेसी ऑफ इंडिया, मॉस्को. She's former member secretary in Tangible Cultural Heritage Ministry of Culture, New Delhi. Part of her expertise is conceptualizing and execution of themes in the performing arts, particularly Indian classical dance forms, reflecting the rich dharmic heritage of Bharat. So namaskar Usha ji, we're so glad that you're meeting during Navratri, and I think it is the right time to be speaking about Shakti as we know that this year has largely been about Bharat discovering Shakti in different ways, be it our heart power, be it our strengths, or be the power of realizing how Swadeshi can work. So I felt that this is the right time and the right way to be speaking about the strengths that Devi has blessed us with.
Thank you so much, Sumati, for inviting me to your podcast and to, share some thoughts and ideas that have been in my mind for a very long time. The moment we use the word Shakti, somehow it is related to women. And since the normal understanding of the power of the word Shakti is power, and so Bharat Shakti is the power of Bharat, and because it's Bharat Mata, so we think it's female power. All this working together, I think the word Shakti has been very used very subtly, at the same time with the sufficient amount of power that it requires. You cannot use the word power subtly sometimes,
right.
So it's very tough. Right. It's a very tough balance to bring power, but yet in a manner in which the nicer and the softer qualities also are highlighted. So I think this period that we are seeing now in the past few years, we are finding that we constantly repeat the words of the country using soft power as a medium, right, for international and global discussions and maneuvers, etc.
Right.
I think that because art and culture is attributed as soft power, we have managed to include art and culture in a manner in which we are able to use it in these really difficult and hard and discussion-based politics, etc., going on across the country and globally.
Right.
That this is a method where we can, in a very subtle way, yet bring our point to the fore.
Why is being subtle so important here? Because you've mentioned some peculiarities when we're dealing with Shakti or the word Shakti. Why is it so important to realize the right measure in which we must realize power?
Because if you look at the personalities of some of the personalities, women personalities, which were very powerful, but then they are women. So there is a tendency to understand the woman as a weak person or a secondary personality.
True.
But the fact is that as and when required, the strong power comes out. and at the same time, so it's a dichotomy. To be angry means to shout and to become violent or aggressive, but at the same time there is a quiet anger also that persists within our senses. So a woman is like that. So power is always there, but she or the character tries to use it as and when required, not needed all the time. So the rest of the softer abilities, they actually cover up and cushion the power, the hard power or the strong power, as we may call it, and thereby you get this very beautiful imagery that comes out of it. But at the same time, make no mistake that it's there.
How do you see the attributes of the Devi in the arts, and how should we understand them in our daily lives through the arts?
So, see, in all forms, whether you look at dance or music or even visual arts, if you see it, characterization has, we've already had a history of characterization.
Right.
And we have precedences and we have visuals and all that is there. So, the moment you want to, like we have the Navarasas, so whenever you want to show a particular rasa or a particular instance, you will use that rasa as the primary description.
Right.
And when you want to show that primary description, you will visualize the form of the character in that particular way. So if you are going to show the Raudra Roop, you will use a Kali and use a Durga, Ma Durga on sitting on a lion or tiger, and those are the visual images that will come. But at the same time, if you look at the picture with a lot of attention, most of the times we just look at it as a scanning, we just look at it like that randomly. We don't pay attention. Now, if you pay attention to the aesthetics of the personality, you will see the beautiful figure, you will see the aesthetic way in which she is dressed, you will see this very beautifully pleated sari, you will see everything, and the lovely borders and the jewelry that she is wearing, everything highly exquisite. They don't anywhere relate to the fact that she is now going to take her Trishula and she's going to vanquish a demon.
Right.
They don't associate with that, but they are all there. In that, she chooses the moment when she wants to show the Raudra, and at all other times, she will be in a, like the calm anger, I would say. She would be like that. But if you look at another character of, probably if you look at Saraswati, because it's about wisdom and because it is about knowledge, it is about delicacy, it is about beauty of literature and
the
Vidyas, and then her even her Vahana, that beautiful Hamsa, the shape of the Hamsa, the S characteristic of it itself shows that she is in a different format altogether, you know. So, but that doesn't mean, so Viveka ka jo power hai, the power of knowledge is as sharp as the Trishula, if I may say. So, it's not always important that they have to look in a certain way. The Devi can be visualized in myriad forms, you know. And because we have the rasas and because we have so much of literature that is written. So you look at all our composers and early saints who have written, they have visualized them in a certain manner. So they would say Krishna has lotus petal like eyes, okay, or he has pomegranate colored lips. So you can visualize the deity or the character or the whoever you want to through this whole literature that you have, and not necessarily that it is only identified as a particular rasa. It could be anything. But they have everything in them because we don't pay attention. We normally see only what our mind is telling us to see. Example, Kala Bhairav. The visual of Kala Bhairav is almost scary for many people. Big eyes and a huge black stone and with black and red. But if you read the Ashtakam written by Adi Shankara, he says Hema Kinkini Lasat Katin. So Hema Kinkini, golden, tiny golden bells. Lasat, that means beautifully well-shaped waist, which is like almost butter. You know the word lasat, there's a sound of it. And katim, that means the waist is so beautifully shaped that these little tiny golden bells are shining on it. Now, nowhere in that imagery can you even imagine any scary look. So, I think it's all about gathering the knowledge, going through it, and then visualizing. And because we are highly interpretative in our country, and also we are individualistic in our country. So you won't find 2 Birju Maharajas, you won't find 3 Jasrajas, you'll find one of them. And they have interpreted and represented their art and culture through their senses and through their understanding. And that's why you get these myriad forms that we have in this country, you know.
There are 2 points of interests here. एक नवरसा का एस्पेक्ट है, और कभी भी जब नवरसा की बात होती है तो उसको डायरेक्टली इतना आर्टिस्टिक नैरेटिव में या परफॉर्मेंसेस में हम देवी को उसके सोर्स या स्रोत की तरह नहीं देखते. दैट्स नॉट आवर फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्स ऑलवेज. हाउएवर आई फील as you spoke, I think it's the first time that hit me so strongly that the Devi is actually where the Navrasas meet.
Yes.
Yes? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
Because you said, you spoke about interpretations, or
Yes.
maybe I'm being very interpretative here, but I see the Navrasas meeting in the Devi as we speak. So there's Shringara, there's Vatsalya, there's Raudra, there's Vibhatsa, and
Yeah. So every character's life goes through all the rasas.
Right.
Because like they say, life is full of ups and downs, life is full of situations, life is full of instances. So there are the moments where you will see every character experiencing all this. I remember we did a show on Navarasa in Russia, where we expressed Navarasa through the point of view of Mahadev or Shiva. So when did Shiva experience Hasya Rasa? Now mostly Shiva is looked on as a very strict, very powerful, very serious character.
Right.
But if you look at as a deity also, he's considered in that form.
Right.
But the time when he sees little Ganesha falling off his mouse again and again, while he's trying to hoist himself on that little animal, I mean, he's so plumpy, and he just looks at it and he laughs. And that is the Hasya Rasa for you. And that same Shiva, when he sees, experiences the half-burnt body of Sati, it's Bhibhasa. So you remove these experiences or instances from each of the characters, and then you know, put them in a garland of the 9 rasas. You'll find that Devi has such beautiful experiences that we can put together to describe these rasas, you know. And it's all, I think, the artist who works on it, who designs it, who puts it together and tries to create an image for you, visual image for you, where you say, oh, this is the time she felt this, or this is the time there was Shringara, or this is the time she might have you know, been angry with her father. So Parvati was angry with her father. That was the you know, time when she expressed anger. When she was you know, in complete peace with herself, and that's when she experiences Shantarasa.
Right.
And her Shringara with Mahadev is the time when there was Shringara Rasa for her. So you will find these 9 expressions in every character.
So you mentioned the Bhairava Ashtakam, and I'm fortunate to have attended that performance, जहाँ आपने explain किया था ये सब. और अष्टकम सुनते आ रहे, लेकिन the mind always doesn't go to these very minute aspects.
Gannath Ashtakam is very popular in Orissa, and that is always used as an opening piece or a paying obeisance to Jagannath Ji piece. See, in rest of India, while we all know the Ashtakams, we generally don't use them as performance pieces.
Right.
Okay, because we have a whole lot of things to do. So for us, there is a Ganesha Kautvam, there is a you know, Kartikeya Kautvam, there is a Nataraja Kautvam, there is a Durga Kautvam. We have tremendous amount of choices. And so we probably didn't use the Ashtakams for dance.
Right.
So I think this was the first time that we planned to do an evening full of Ashtakams, selecting 6 or 7 Ashtakams across different styles.
Right.
Which actually started because I had been to Sringeri in 2014 maybe, and I picked up this book on smaller compositions of Adi Shankaracharya, not the bigger ones like Saundarya Lahari and all that. But these were all tiny compositions which can be chanted easily and can be learnt. And I remember taking blessings of His Holiness that time, and he said, you have taken this book, do something with it. So it took me a lot of time, maybe around, I think, 8-9 years to understand it, because traditional literature is a layered phenomena, and just the simple word meaning is not sufficient. One has to understand the philosophy behind why they have said it, and then depict that. So there are certain words which will then trigger off to a story of the deity, and there may be certain words which you just express straight away, and just give the line meaning of it.
Right.
But the reason was that while people chant, we don't have the time, and so we chant in speed.
Right.
We speed chant, and we are in a rush always. So we don't even know the meanings of many things in that, let alone the Gudha meaning, as they call it, or the underlying meanings which are hidden. We don't know that. But even there's basic meanings we don't know. And I thought it will be nice for the general audience, not initiated, not dancers, nothing, no gurus. I'm saying generally an audience member who is spiritual would want to understand this thing. And especially when you do it in dance, you actually see it in a visual form, you see it in a beautiful form, you hear it in musical form, so you learn it better and you understand the meaning. So the next time you close your eyes and chant it, you will stop when you say Hema Kinkini Lasat Katim, because your eyes will immediately imagine a beautiful waist, the beautiful waist of Shiva. So this was the basic reason. And each Ashtakam has its own magnetism, So the Sharda Ashtakam, the Yamuna Ashtakam, the Ganga Ashtakam. So like for example the Ganga Ashtakam, Ganga is all about life and death and newness, new life and emergence of spirituality in you and some higher consciousness and all that. So this whole line which they say, ki Ganga mein dubki lagane se sare paap dhul jayenge. I used to dwell on that line and I thought, like really, you just go dip yourself and come out and everything just vanishes. Over the period of reading and understanding different philosophy and Advaita philosophy and all this thing, and getting into all this space, knowledge space, one understood that what we have to tell the common man is that when we say that you go and dip yourself in the water, you allow the river or the mother
to embrace you
into a cocoon, which then washes you not only from outside but from within. And when you're taken care of from within, a new perspective of life will emerge for you, and when you step out of that, you feel like 1,000 lights are on. So that philosophy, and that why and how do you believe in that philosophy is what is this whole experience of dipping yourself in the river, So these things, when they start coming out, I think it is very important that the young generation of our country should not think that praying is something that they don't want to do. So to bring the next generation to understand that this is not something that you have to run away from, and maybe you step forward and understand it, probably it's going to make some difference in your own life. Then these younger generations started working on the Ashtakams, and I found that once they did it, they all visited the temples, they understood what was going on there, they really valued what research they did.
That gives us the reason that the performances where you've based them on the works of Guru Adi Shankaracharya should travel across the nation.
It should, yes.
So it should. Now, it is wishful thinking, but how do you think this can work out? क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं कि कॉन्सर्ट्स नहीं हो रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि और संस्थान नहीं हैं जो कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. It has been happening for decades, and still, how can we make the difference in creating that perception which you just mentioned, जहाँ पर जो younger generations हैं उनको अगर किसी प्रीची तरीके से नहीं तो कम से कम आर्ट्स के थ्रू, you know, where there is a slight sense of discovery, if they watch a performance, then something changes for them and they try to discover why a Shakti Peeth, why do I go to Sringeri, or why do I visit a certain temple, or why do I go for a holy dip. So what difference can the arts make there, and what difference can the work that you created make?
So Adi Ashtakam, we initially started with Bharatnatyam. We have done more than 9 shows of that across India,
right,
including Kashi. And so Hyderabad, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, we've taken Delhi, we've taken it across. Then we did the Odissi Adi Ashtakam, and we initiated the Odissi dancers not only to repeat their Jagannath Ashtakam, but to do the other ones also. And there we included Yamuna for them. Similarly, we did in Kathak.
Wonderful.
And now we are doing in Kuchipudi in Bangalore on the 5th of October. So 6 Kuchipudi dancers, all youngsters. Nobody above the age of 32 or max 33 are presenting these things in their style, in their format, with their content that they normally do in Kuchipudi. So we've been trying. I think overall I must have done more than 25 shows of Adi Ashtakam, and I hope that it will continue like that. We keep looking forward to wherever we can present it, because for younger generation, I think when their peers perform it or explain to them, they are able to relate
That's a
better.
quicker connect, right?
And also we've tried to make it interesting in the sense that, for example, Guru Ashtakam. Guru Ashtakam per se, if you read it, it is a bit preachy in the sense for a younger generation person. Ki if you don't touch your teacher, Guru's feet, then you have nothing else in life. What is the use of anything? That's the meaning in English. But the person, the dancer who choreographed it, Kirtana Ravi from Bombay, very beautifully used the words Tata Kim.
Yes.
And she created a beautiful pattern of nritta or pure dance, or jati as we call it,
based on Tata Kim,
where it's mathematical.
Right.
So she used the Tata Kim to in a mathematical permutation and combination, which immediately brought attention to that, and then also to say that Guru, while the literature says Guru Rangri Padme Manaschina Lignam, that means put your mind at the feet of the Guru, it is again interpretative, and you can look at it as pay reverence to your Guru. You can just pay reverence through your heart and maybe physically not touch feet. And that's a whole area where today I think children are finding it awkward to do certain things. And it's okay. I think we have to look at the essence of it more than the physicality of it.
True.
If within their minds and within their hearts, they feel that this person has contributed to my learning and has made me what I am today, that thought is sufficient.
Right.
So I think if you do it smartly and you try to use the beauty of those compositions, but in a reinvented, revisiting kind of way, you recreate it, and then I think it connects with the generation.
So reinventing leads to reinterpretation, I think, gradually. The philosophical and the intellectual approach has to be complete and more than 100%.
And you have to capture your audience.
Right.
You look at them and you perform. You have to envelop them in your art.
Right.
And that is your challenge, because tomorrow when you do your solo performance 45 minutes, this is like a sneak peek into your 45 minutes.
Right.
If you are
What you
ready with
actually
this,
go into.
you will know how to keep your audience for
उसका
45
सार है
minutes.
आपके पूरे परफॉर्मेंस का.
And solo is going away out of fashion, because people want large shows, they want big groups, and there are 40 dancers. But individual dancers will grow, and we will have the next generation good dancers. I won't compare them with any names, but for the want of a better comparison, I'll say, where are the next generation? So every generation we'll have some, like we had Padma Subramaniam, then after that somebody, then after that Malavika Sarukai, then Rama Vaidyanathan. So how do these names shine? They come because of their hard work and their solo repertoire.
Right.
The group mein you won't become a Rama Vaidyanathan, you know. So if you want to work and somewhere reach that finishing line, you have to do solo.
Right.
And the opportunities are very few.
Very few.
So it is good that I can take 5, put them together and give each of them a solo challenge.
Right.
And they are working towards that finishing line.
You mentioned essence of the soul, and that goes a long way in how we think the divine feminine and the feminine power. So we come across a trend on Instagram where we see many of these influencers saying that you are the Devi, tum hi Devi ho, and so on. So we understand it a bit, but I find it problematic somewhere where the Devi is not being understood for her own attributes, and it's not being understood how we imbibe those attributes, but somewhere for a shortcut, as it appears to me, is that you think that you yourself are Devi. So how do you understand the feminine when you think of the divine feminine in the arts?
One has to look at it from, so when you say divine itself, it is something, it's somebody else. It's not we. We are human,
Right.
But I thought in a manner that all the characteristics of the divine or the divine feminine forms that we have been characters. But for the rest of the characteristics, they don't want to identify it with the fact that it has come to us as a genetic handing down from the divine. For want of a better sentence, I think.
You believe in that?
Yeah, I do. Because who are we? We are all outcomes of what has been there. So why, if we are able to see that there is a father who has got so much compassion, then wo to Dashrath jaise hain. So why can't a young girl who is very intellectual be like Saraswati, or have characteristics of Saraswati? She may not be Saraswati, but she will have the characteristics of Saraswati.
Right.
For me, I think divine is divine and human is human. But we can identify those characteristics from there within ourselves and see whether we have it. And if we can't find them, we inculcate them, or we work at bringing them forward. Maybe they are hidden somewhere. I don't believe that we are not, we don't have it. We have it. But maybe in the manner in which our upbringing, or in the manner in which our society has formed, or whatever has been prevalent at that time, those things have been, moved, and something else has come out. So every time we have to go back and bring it out, and see. I thought Vanita would be a good manner of expressing. So, 4 characteristics, very simple: Viveka, intelligence or knowledge, and then Vinaya, which is humility, and then Virya, which is not physical strength, but intellectual strength, or Bauddhik Sahasta, I call it. And then the last one was Vicharaka, which is the art of debate and judgment. So, we never talk of women as great debaters. We always think that, they can take a back seat. Debates only happened amongst great scholars and, Mandana Mishras and Adi Shankaracharyas and what have you. Those debates are talked about. But the fact that Ubhay Bharati was a judge for one of them is never spoken about. I did this program on these characters across India, and everywhere they said, who is Ubhay Bharati? I mean, the Aam Janta I'm talking about. I'm not talking about intellectuals who know all this. I'm saying a normal audience member who came, he said, we never heard of her. In South, they didn't even know who she was.
I think PM Modi mentioned it once when he went
Modi
to Kedarnath.
mentions her, mentions Gargi, mentions Maitreya. We used all the Maitreyi, we used these characteristics this time in Vanita because we wanted to make sure that they are talked about. Who is Gargi? Why should a college be named after Gargi?
And Maitri.
And Maitreyi. And who was Maitreyi? How did she have the ability in her times to say that I don't want the money, the wealth of the world, but I want to attain moksha?
Right.
So if a woman is able to say that, that means her intellectuality is at a very high level.
True.
As good as Yajnavalkya, who was going to leave everything and become a sannyasi.
Right.
So there was no, there was parity, in the sense there was no part of India which said that no, you are lesser and I am higher. It was not there at that time. And I thought it's time we bring that out and say it out loudly, So Mandodari was a simple looking, young, pretty lady, and she, with all her tenderness, stands in front of this mighty Ravana and says, I'm telling you, you're making a mistake. So the Bauddhic sahasta of being able to say that this is a mistake you're doing itself is important. Why do we have to say, it's okay, abhi kuch mat bolna, baad mein dekha jayega? What is that? It is time that we enable everyone to recognize those characteristics that they have. And only if you recognize that characteristic will you use it.
Right.
Otherwise you'll always be in fear that नहीं मैं तो बोल ही नहीं पाऊंगी, मैं तो कर ही नहीं पाऊंगी. Yeah, what is humility? Humility comes from a space of confidence. When you know that you can do it, you are okay about it. Sita, when she was playing with her friends, the ball goes under the Shiva Dhanush. She just lifts it and takes the ball out, and all her friends are, dumbstruck that so many chariots brought that Shiv Dhanush and you are picking it up like this and you're so small. But she said, okay, fine, so let's continue to play. She didn't make a big thing of it and say, yes, I am so great or I am so strong. No. None of our characters, however aggressive or non-aggressive they may have been, including Draupadi, ever spoke about her abilities, and said, I am so well equipped.
So there's a lot to learn from them, and I hope this Navratra we do have the courage to learn more and more from them. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
You just have to go deep inside and just pull that thing out, like the mind goes into the subconscious and brings our memories back. So I think these are all deep memories within our body, and we have to bring them out. Navratra is the time when everything is energized around you. You're seeing this whole fight of good over evil happening, and on the last day you will see the victory of it. So this 9 days is meditative, is to ponder, is to go within, meditate, think about it, keep your body in the way that it will receive, and allow the inner movement of thought and spirituality within, so that you will recognize yourself better. You will gather all these good thoughts and fight of good over evil.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, and it was a chat that I'll remember for a long time. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar.
It's a pleasure always.
Namaskar.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.